a bunch of hubs cut out with the hole saw. So now I'm going to need to cut them with the miter gauge extension on the table saw. But before I do that, these are going to be 4 bladers. So 360 divided by 4 is 90. So I have here just a piece of paper glued to a board. And in the center I have a 1/4 inch metal dowel. So what I need to do is mark each hub every 90 degrees for an index mark that will line up with the mark on my jig here, so that my blades are exactly 90 degrees apart and even, and they will turn better. So I don't know if you can see this, but what I've done is mark these with a pencil corresponding to this line here that I had on there earlier. See that? So I keep them all in the same position while I'm marking them. Zoom in a little bit here. So I got a little square. I use that square to get a nice straight line. I'll do this 4 times. Being careful not to move this. Alright, I've already got 2 of these, so that's good. This one's good. The more accurate you can do this, not only the more perfect and the better your whirligig propeller will look, but it will fly better. Well, I call it fly better. Spin easier, spin in lighter winds. If it's all lopsided and uneven, it'll look funny, and it won't spin easily. So that's how you do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm going to do is just got a 1/4 bolt, 1/4 inch hole. Snug it up and line it up very carefully with the index mark there. And then I'll just tighten that up with the wrench. Being careful not to move it. And here I'm checking my blade height. I don't want the blade to cut into the bolt. That would be bad for the blade, bad for the bolt. And I want a little extra meat in there. I mean, that looks really good. But you want it to be strong and enough area to hold the glue and hold the blade in. But you don't want it to cut into the hole. Okay. So now I'm spinning this back around, put it in the groove. checking everything for snugness. Now I'm checking to make sure the blade goes through the center of the hub. At about the center point of the line. So here's the blade line coming right here, and then it's going to cut something like this. Of course, it'll be on the underside there. It's hard for the camera to show that. Alright, so I'm all set up. Get my safety goggles on and make the cut. Okay, safety goggles are on. And we'll have to plug in the saw, I guess. That always helps. Energize. There's the line, and there's the cut, the first cut. That's what it should look like from the front. Looks good. Not too close to the bullet hole. So now, I'm going to loosen it. Loosen it up. Move it to the next line. Get it exact. Tighten it up. Screw's trying to turn on me. And repeat. Index line is lined up. All set. Second cut. All right. Loosen it up. You could just use a clamp on here, quick clamp. You could do that. But these hubs are pretty darn small across there. That's only their inch, total diameter is 1 3/4 inches. There's not a lot of room for a clamp, and this is the way I've always done it. It works for me, so. Third cut. We're getting there. Repeat. Now, when you get around to the third cut, you've cut through your line. Cut through my index line, but it doesn't matter. There's enough of it there to see, so you can still line it up with your jig line. I don't know if the camera picks that up. See where it's cut through it? It's okay. That's going to happen on a 4-blader. Tighten it back up. Back into this saw and cut that one. That's got to be it. So there it is. All 4 have been cut. All 4 slots. Nice and neat. And if the datas are correct, here's the blade stock that I cut on the larger table saw earlier today. Look at that. Nice fit. I'll just slice these off, sand them, and we'll have a propeller for the seaplane or whatever else you want. Alright, so the hub is finished, and I've got the blades cut out. They're only 4.5 inches, but when you slide them in, glue them up, one, two, three, four. That looks pretty good. When you glue these, you want to be sure to get them on a nice flat surface, so they're all even. They're all touching the surface, and they're all even. Again, so that they don't wobble, and that if it's even and balanced, it'll blow in the lightest wind. So that those are only 4.5 inches, but with the hub, that gives you a 9 and 3/4 inch propeller. That's 9 3/4 inches. So, you know, pretty small, but actually that's pretty good. And you know, a whirligig is all about the propeller. So a big propeller is good. You can see it from farther off. Further away, it's more dramatic. catches more wind. We'll go over here to the airplane I already have made and compare this to the propeller already made. There's one. So, pretty good. Looks a lot like it. I got a couple of them made out of walnut. Believe it or not, that's walnut. So I haven't rounded these yet, of course. We'll sand them and round them, glue them, and this will be a good propeller for the little seaplane. I call it the little seaplane. There's the pattern for the little seaplane. And what I've been experimenting with on this little seaplane is making the cowlings round instead of just this little little block of wood sitting up there. Make it more realistic. And here's the block that sits on the wing that holds the propeller. But I saw a video by Iggy Swan, woodworking, and he used a kind of a table saw sled with a bearing on one end, and he made this table saw lathe, and I did the same thing, and it works good. And these are my engine nacelles for my new little seaplane. I made a couple of these seaplanes. That's the way they go on there, like that. And of course the propellers are going in. This seaplane, which I'll maybe do a video on this seaplane once I get it finished. The nacelles on that were part of a front porch post, the round post that you buy at the hardware store, pre-made, and I just cut those up and tapered the end, and they came out okay. But radial engines just have round cowlings, round engines, so that's what I want to do on my little seaplane. So here's another one I've been experimenting with there. So it should look pretty good when I get it done.